OMG. So, here's my face and my creepy background. Some people comment at times. They're like, why is there such a creepy thing on your wall? Well, as I like to joke to friends, it's because I've combined good and evil in life, the yin and yang. So even though it might seem scary, the background, it's not something to be scared of. It just looks dark and kind of creepy, but you know, I like horror movies and stuff like that, so from an artistic point of view, that's why I have it on my wall. So I hope it doesn't disturb you too much. Please, dear viewer, do not be dismayed. Let not your hearts be troubled. Today I wanted to talk about a subject called when bad things occur, make peace with it and accept whatever it has taught you. You see, bad things occur all the time. You might want to deny that statement, and that's one of the issues people have when studying law of attraction or other metaphysical things. They start to get the attitude that there's no such thing as a bad activity or a bad event. I think that's kind of weird, because in reality bad things do happen. Stuff does happen that you're not happy with, that you don't agree with, that you feel like, I wish that didn't occur, so automatically it's actually bad if you think about it. So what will you do once it happens? Well, my suggestion again is, as I said in the title of the video as well, make peace with it and accept whatever it has taught you. Now these two things, these two activities, right, they're kind of tricky perhaps at first, because if you're in the midst of something that really hurts you, it's hard to make peace with it for the time being. But that's eventually what you have to do. It's something that I start to reflect on for myself in the past, that when I was younger, during certain events in my life, let's say a breakup or a goal didn't work out that I was working on at the time being, I would feel bad and I would allow myself to feel bad, but at the same time I subconsciously, because I wasn't aware of what I was doing at the time, but I would start saying apparently to myself, I accept this. I'm going to make peace with this, even though it hurt me, sometimes deeply, like maybe I would be crying or something, that's how intense it could be. But then I would say, still in my heart, I accept this, I will make peace with this, somehow, someday, some way, I will accept this. It's okay if things don't go as I had planned them, or it's okay if things didn't work out exactly the way I had hoped they would. And as I would keep saying that to myself in spite of the pain, I would actually learn something from it. So that brings you to that last point, that accept and whatever it has taught you. So you have to also be aware of what the situation actually taught you, because you can learn from any bad event in your life. The problem is that most people don't want to learn. Have you ever noticed that there's so many people on this planet that will say that it's always the other person's fault? No matter what it is, whether it's a breakup or a business failure or whatever, it's like, no, it was my ex-partner's fault. No, it was that, acquaintance, that colleague's fault. It's always somebody else's fault for most people. But we cannot have that attitude if we really want to apply metaphysical teachings in the way that I normally would share through my channel and how other YouTubers and coaches and authors talk about it. We have to take responsibility for our own state of mind. And you see, if you get into a cycle, because this is what happened to me, I got into a cycle where it again was unconscious. When you start using alcohol or drugs to feel better, many adults are involved in this activity. And it seems innocent, but it's actually not. It's only innocent when you're doing it when you're in the right state of mind. And here's the thing, here's the tricky part. Many people are actually doing it to relieve stress, or maybe some sorrow or something that hurt them or is frustrating them. And that's a very common pattern for humanity. It's something I was involved in for many, many years, like a decade of my life, pretty much. And it's still something I have to be very mindful of, because before I fell into that sort of trap of using substances in order to lift temporarily how I felt, I do remember I was able to just say to myself, I accept this, I will make peace with this. It hurts now, but I will make peace with this. As I said earlier, that attitude is the only way to develop wisdom and better insights on how you can gain the right awareness from things that went wrong in your past. What you want to understand is that life is a series of ups and downs always, but that doesn't mean that you have to let it keep you down. If you had your hopes on some relationship or goal that you wanted to work out, a business venture that you wanted to make it work. This happened to me a couple years ago. I had a business idea that I really wanted to work at, and it failed perfectly. Well, I wouldn't say it was perfect at the time, but looking back at it now, it simply failed. I was going about it the wrong way. I could have started my YouTube channel back then. I didn't. And because of that, for the time being, I felt like a failure, like my dreams shattered. Even though I have all this wisdom about consciousness, I still fell into that sort of pitfall where I temporarily felt like everything was over, it was done. I can never achieve my dreams now. It was only after a few months that I realized, wait a minute, I can approach this dream from a totally different angle. Let's do that. And that's exactly when I started my YouTube channel, Mr. Inspirational, as well. But before that, I went on this wild drug trip on alcohol. It was crazy, to say the least. It was like I was drowning my sorrows, as they would say, in the case of alcohol. Did it help me? Well, the thing is, I have a lot of awareness about consciousness, so for me, I can always get back to my own sort of insights on how to go about my business in life in an effective manner. But if you lack that awareness, those are the people that might stay stuck in their addiction forever, and they will never learn something. With me, with every hangover, I would start reflecting back and realize, this is silly, man, what are you doing? Then I would still relapse, and again, this is silly, man, what are you doing? The reason I would be saying, what are you doing, is because I knew I should exercise my imagination instead of drowning my sorrows in booze at the time. So that's what I've been doing again. Exercising my imagination. Now, it doesn't mean that I will always do it in the right way. There's always bad times that I'm at a phase where I might be tempted to drink, and sometimes I actually do, to this day. Really not the best choice in my life, but the thing is, I'm at least self-aware enough that I also know how to go about it and how to deal with bad situations in an effective way. Do you know how to deal with bad situations in an effective way? Or are you one of those people that is just going to blame everybody else for what's happened to you? It's always the other person's fault. You never want to own up to anything you did. You're like, oh, I'm so perfect, it's never my fault, it's your fault. I never did anything wrong to make you do this. There's many students in metaphysical teachings. I have seen this in the relationship section, I'm not even joking. Women or guys that are like, I imagined myself happily with this person, but they left me. I did everything right, they left me. It's not my fault, it's their fault, they left me. It's like, no. Relationships are in a different sort of category. Now, there's YouTubers out there that teach you that you can use your imagination to attract anyone you want. This is true in the sense that you can attract your most ideal partner through your imagination. But what I don't agree with is that attitude of, it has to be this very specific individual on the planet that has to be my partner. If they don't, well, then it's their fault for leaving me because I applied the law of attraction. It's like, you got the wrong idea there. That's what my mentor would teach me as well. He would say, don't focus on the individual on the planet that you would want them to be your partner. Instead, focus on the state. That's also what Neville would say. Focus on the aspects, on the characteristics of what you admire and desire in a partner, and then let such a person come into your life, if that's what you desire. Honestly, I don't even desire to be in a relationship. Maybe I will one day, maybe never, ever again, for my own personal reasons. But I just wanted to put this video out there, that if you're going through some hard times, of a business nature, of a relationship nature, of a failed friendship or whatever, somebody broke your trust, they screwed you over in some way whatsoever, instead of blaming the person forever with which you are in conflict, you want to do again what I just suggested in the title. Make peace with it and accept whatever it has taught you. I know it sounds hard, it may be hard at first, but it's the only way to gain wisdom. It's by only accepting what has happened that you can find the renewed strength that you need in order to make your life still worth living. With or without that person, with or without that business venture, with or without anything physically. It is for your own sake and sanity that you want to make peace and accept whatever has happened to you, so you can still live a fulfilled life. And in fact, you will stumble upon the greatest power you ever possessed, and that is the ability to control your own mind and destiny through the imagination. Because you can build new visions and grow to watch them. Think about it. This is all you have to do. Now, that's all I have to say to this video. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.